Good morning, everybody. Just kind of wanted to come out. I had a pretty good night. Slept pretty good. Um, I was gonna come out, just you know, get everything out um, about this whole deal. Cause me and my wife, we kind of use this as a means of getting some things off our chest. We don't mean any harm, but if anything, we're trying to help people. Avoid the mistakes that were made, you know, and trying to trust somebody you never met. And I'm fixing to go into it. Didn't have no firsthand knowledge of this person. Never had I seen this person before. As far as I know, nobody looked this good in Decatur. Never, to my knowledge. Uh, in Decatur, Tennessee, it is. Um, but besides probably a few of them at school, and I'd see them pass through the halls, they might have been somebody back then, such as a Jacqueline Myers or Nina Cranfield, and they walked through. They smile and they dressed all pretty and all that stuff. But no, this Susan, I had no knowledge of years prior. My wife said she's off her old Facebook or something, and I understand that, and I'm gonna try to be as calm as I can and explain everything in full detail. So if somebody out here were to get misled like we did, you know, you'll maybe it'll help somebody, you know, avoid, like I said, mistakes that were made. All right, so the backstory is this person several years prior to me meeting this person that I now regret. She came off my wife's Facebook. My wife never brought her up. My wife never said nothing. I never heard of her. I asked my wife last night when we were having this deep discussion. I said, "Hey, did you even get to talk to her on Facebook? Did you do? Was there anything that?" And she basically, in so many words, said no. She said she hardly ever talked to her on there. Okay, so that done, right there told me a lot. There was a lot of things too my wife's Facebook didn't have. You know, I mean, it. She had a habit of adding a lot of people on the old Facebook. She had the good one. I had the habit of not adding too many. It's like reversed. She had added everybody, no matter who it was, what it was, or whatever. You know, and I had no problem with it, but 5,000 people. I mean, she almost had 5,000. She didn't have the full 5,000, but that was over 400. I mean, 4,900 and some odd people on that thing. Could you imagine somebody like me trying to go through all that and pick out, something? There's not that many here in fucking Decatur. We ain't got but 1,600 people. So I don't know. But like I said, the story is that I was made aware. Well, my wife, to pick up where I was leaving off, my wife went up to, she had this guy on her phone. He's no longer here, but she had this guy on her phone she used to know, and he lived up there. And he lived up here right next to our apartments, up here at Stevenson Square. And yeah, and recent since this the Susan or whatever came from there. I've dubbed them crack whore apartments. And I've dubbed her just crack whore, but I'm explaining. Okay, well, she goes up there and he wants her to come up there and wants to visit. Well, supposedly the story goes that this woman was out. He told my wife that the story was this woman was in his fucking house because she was out walking these streets out here and he felt bad for this person. And I've asked my wife many a times. I said, would he have done that for a elderly person, somebody that was really old? And she said to me after thinking about it, and I didn't have to think about it, but she said, no, he probably wouldn't have, basically. And I said, that's where I'd be heading. So anyway, so the story is that, my wife, you know, uh, calls me up, and I always have my phone right near me, next to me. And so she goes to tell me, hey, I got something, good news, or I don't remember how she exactly says it, but she had something to tell me, good news. So I listened to her, and she's telling me about, Susan here, and she's telling me just, she told me a few things. Number one, she told me she was homeless, okay, and she needed a place to go. Okay, well, and that, and so, I didn't have time to really think on my feet. I was, kind of thrilled at the chance. And I want to make this clear because my wife says I was happy. Yes, for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it was. Yeah. And when I further examined what went really wrong on both parts, mine and hers, we let her move in here. We let this woman come in here and she's treating my wife. My wife said, "Oh, she was so good to me up there. She wouldn't give me no hassle." My wife had told me, said last night when we had this discussion. Like I said, I'm not mad. I'm just gonna put this all out here so everybody can learn 101 what you don't do with strangers that you don't have no knowledge of. If you don't know them inside, then you don't know what their outside is. I mean, you know what your eyes can see, but don't let it fool you. Because as my wife understands me and the way I work, I'm not giving up the way I think, the way that I do things. I'm not as old fashioned as some people, but I am going to keep my morals and my values and the way I view things. If y'all out here get mad because I am who I am, that's what's supposed to make everybody different. Everybody's not supposed to like everything new. I'm not above trying to watch something new or doing something new that I think I might enjoy, or if it has a good, story to it. If it's a new game, a new, you know, my wife says I never give anything a chance. Well, I think I went pretty far in giving. I even went, and I'll tell you something else, and I'm just put this out here for everybody to understand. I think my wife's just frustrated, but we gave her two chances. Okay, there's not many people that would do what I did. Take this woman in, not knowing anything about her. I'd never met her myself. Okay, she walks through the door. Like I said, first impressions always matter to me. You know, I mean, as soon as you walk through the door, you know, and I found out last night that when I brought up the scenario I said, we probably should have just texted her. We should have just called and talked on the phone a little bit. You and her should have just kind of gotten to know each other. She had something similar in common with my wife. She went to Hawassi, and don't get me wrong, but there's not enough money in this world that you could pay me to want to be a counselor and to hope that everything that someone's telling you that you don't know, that you don't take home, that's not your kids, you don't know whether they're telling you the truth or whether they're lying through their teeth. But I'll tell you one thing I do know about a lot of people, and I can probably say everybody. Everybody's not going to go in there and tell them everything that's wrong. You know, no paper, no person, no 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 program of any kind is going to help anybody if you don't have it in you to help yourself. You know, I told my wife last night, had this person shut up and not interrupted me and not been such a dickhead about everything, I would have done everything that I promised. If I had my way with her instead of me getting run over. But I'm going to explain. She comes in here, she lays down in the chair for 2 days straight. Okay. She did make it clear why before she went to bed. Said she'd had the kids for 4 or 5 days or whatever it was, for a good while. So she needed some rest. Okay. When she slept for the first 2 days, she slept practically all of it, except when she had to go to the bathroom. Okay. So anyway, day 3, I get up, and I basically, well, let me before I say that, my wife, when she first walked through the door, my wife said, "This is your early Valentine's present." Okay, I didn't quite get that out there. Um, and she kind of smiled, a little bit, and then, like I said, she told us that a little bit. She went and come in the chair and lay down. So the first 2 days had no issues, nobody was yelling, screaming, hollering, nothing was wrong. You'd have thought nothing was bothering her. I mean, for the first 2 fucking days. 2 fucking days, people. This woman was like, it's like a new baby being born. You didn't hear a fucking peep. But the minute, and if you ever heard of waking the old sleeping giant up, you shouldn't do that. I probably shouldn't have done it. Because what happened to me could happen to anybody. And so and she kind of was still halfway asleep, or at least somewhat. So I said, or she's kind of started to come around and look like she's trying to wake up. So I told her, I said, look, if you're going to sleep in that chair and just sleep all these days away, and you're not going to do anything, then you can leave. And I don't know how else to say it. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be mean. Contrary to what people want to think of me out here, or whatever my wife wanted to think while she was still standing in here, with this person. I was not trying to be mean to this person. I was not trying to boss her around. She's the one that came out in day 3. Keep this in mind, 3 days. She came out and started telling all these horrible stories. Now, I didn't say I didn't believe them. I can very much believe them, because the one thing she did have wrong with her, the clue was not only the brain, the mental part, but you could visually see her teeth being messed up. Now, I had no idea. I didn't ask. It wasn't my business. Had she just stayed the way she was, I would have been fine. I would have never asked. It was none of my business. I had never seen her before. You got to keep that in mind. Derek, unless somebody goes up to him, he does not speak. He does not interrupt people. I'm not like my wife's people want me to come up and interrupt them, for an example. That's what she said. They're mad because Frederick got married. So what? Y'all forced it. Y'all aggravated my wife. Y'all made her upset, and I was afraid she's going to leave. So me and her made the choice of going up there, having a courthouse wedding. Okay? But anyway, back to what I was going to talk about. So, so like I said, day 3, we talked. She led all the conversation pretty much. I stepped in there where I thought I could help her. She wanted help. Okay? So I give advice. My wife could do the same thing. She can take it or leave it. If she wants to do something backwards and she wants to learn the hard way, and I told her to do the right thing to start with, she knows she'll come back later on and say, Derek, you was right. I should have listened to you. Same thing with her. If she'd shut up and had listened to me and quit trying to interrupt me, which is what my dad always hated. One of the clues. See, I learned a lot from my dad, my mom's teachings. He always used to tell me, he said, well, you're never too old to get a whooping. Well, she's never too old to get a whooping for sure. I give her one verbally for sure. But yeah, so day 3, she led conversations. She could have talked about anything else. But the main things that she wanted to talk about and the things that we didn't know going in, number 1, she had kids. 2, she's out on the streets, walking the road. She's a crack whore. Was a crack whore, I'll say it that way. Was at the time a crack whore. So that's why I always just dubbed her the crack whore, even if she don't do them anymore. Well, okay. So anyway, she's telling all these stories, which is enough to make anybody want to pull the hair out of their head. I'll just be honest with you. And trust me, I don't think Dr. Phil or anybody, Steve Wilkos or anybody can handle this person. Not that I usually go by physical appearance. There's nothing wrong with a tall woman. There's nothing wrong with, having a little weight on you or, and looking good. But if you were to let this woman, it looked at least to be about 6 foot. She looked it anyway. I don't know exactly how tall she was. She was a little bit taller than me, it looked like. She wasn't exactly what you would call lovable, huggable. She wasn't good at giving kisses. She wasn't good at giving hugs. She wasn't good at compromising. It was like pulling teeth. But, like I say, so day 3, she led all the conversation. So we talked about mainly her bad past. Well, that didn't settle too good with me, And so, she did watch some TV though. I'll say that. She got up, watched some movies, but during that day, she let us know some stuff. And but then day 4, she basically she's like, I gotta go over here and I gotta go see my parents, go get my kids. And she was texting them and calling them, and they were trying to figure out when she could get these kids. Because they're 70-something years old. They don't have long to live, and they certainly don't need her goddamn kids stressing them the fuck out. To be honest with you, that's what a woman's problem is. They put things on people. What if them 2 kids wasn't there? her parents could live free of not having to watch them or felt like they'd be her fucking kids like they're supposed to be if she had everything done right. Her parents felt so bad for her. I gotta say this. I gotta say this. I can get along with her parents real easy. My wife can attest to this. She can get on here, she wants to at the wall when I get done. And she can say whatever she wants to say. Um, I always give her that because, we share this. Just because it's got my name on it and my picture on it doesn't mean me and her didn't share it. But anyway, so I meet her parents. They didn't talk about nothing bad. But my clue was, hey, you sure this is a good idea? Should you be taking all this stuff? Blah, blah, blah. My wife's, in the other room, but he's, saying all this stuff. And I should have asked him what he meant by it. He knew something was going to go down. But I didn't, and that was my fault. They came over here, he picked us up, and we went over to their house. They watched a movie or had some stuff on TV. We were just talking a little bit about me and a little bit about Jessica, how we've met this now, former crack whore that me and my wife can't seem to get it up, can't get past it. But so day 5, or day it might have been day 5. Actually, I think she spent 4 days here. But day 4, she was talking to her parents about coming over and getting kids, or them bringing them over here. Because keep in mind, this woman had no car, she had no job, she had no money, she had food stamps. Okay, keep this all in mind when I'm giving a verbal thrashing, and I'm gonna get there. So, whenever, by day 5, go over there, her parents' house. Like I said, talk to her people. Her people didn't give me no bad vibes. Her brother, and I don't remember what his name was, but her brother, he dealt with some stuff too, made some bad choices, and probably does them just for reasons that all people give. Well, my nerves are bad, or it's just something I seen. I thought it looked cool, or whatever. Who knows? But just saying, it could have been any one of those. So she monkey see, monkey do, right? And like I said, but anyway, so we come back home, and the kids, are here at the house. What does the kids do? First impression they make, run around screaming with their heads cut off. It doesn't do any good for me. Now, I was raised, basically in the house, you sit down there and you watch TV or whatever. If people were cooking, you went outside and hollered and screamed and played. This wasn't a playground up here. There's ruts up here. There's stuff up in here that and I was afraid there's walls in here. There's a floor. I think these kids wanted to intentionally get hurt, so we'd have to go to the hospital. They act like a bunch of jackasses. Derek, give them a break. Okay, the 8-year-old should take charge. She should sit down. The 3-year-old, I kind of see. The 8-year-old's the one that started that fucking bullshit when they started running around to begin with. Because when she joined in, it made the other one worse. So what did I do? Instead of I did say, the stuff that I just told you. Calm down, everybody, let's, or something like that. I can't remember how I phrased it. But I was getting irritated. So instead of making things worse, I do the right thing. I get up, and I go in there, go in the bathroom, and I start fucking cleaning. Right? So my mind is at ease. I can fucking, get that off my mind. And I thought I'll just let them run around here like jackasses and like a bunch of wild damn monkeys. Well, Derek, you gotta get your energy out. Well, goddamn, let them go out. Let them go out and get them a walk or something. You're supposed to do that shit outside. You know, I'm not. I'm not kidding you. I mean, people may want to judge, wants to say I'm judgmental, but it's the best place because outside is like freedom from in the house. In the house, you're doing house chores, you're doing cooking, you're trying to do things, that everybody does to their house. You don't have time to watch after these fucking kids run around screaming with their heads cut off. And they were doing it on purpose, trying to get under my skin. So instead of, really being instead of kept going, instead of, drilling them too hard, I told them a few times they need to calm down, sit down, and stuff. They wasn't listening too good. So I got up and like I said, I went there and I cleaned. Well, so I went and, came back out after my wife. She came in there and she said, look, she said, basically that, the kids are fine, they've calmed down. They want Derek to come out, and they just called me Uncle Derek. I don't know why. These weren't my kids. And I wasn't related to them. But, that's them. I mean, I can't, I can't say I didn't like it, but at the same time, I was like, that's why they're not listening to me because they don't know who the fuck I am. Because they're used to Daddy. Who, by the way, Daddy had a job. He was working his ass off and providing for himself. Not only could he provide for himself, but he could have had the rights to see either one of these kids, no matter if the other one wasn't his. He could have been taking the reins of the situation. But why? Why wasn't he? Okay, let's examine this. Okay, my wife told me that supposedly, now this is just from the crack whore, Susan. She's told my wife, and I do remember some of this stuff as she brought it up last night. She said that this guy, who, by the way, let me get this straight, she still wanted to be friends with this guy. Keep that in mind. Okay, so, and it's the same guy she had one of the two kids with. So when I tell you this whole story, don't, she's wacko. Okay, she's lost it. But she says supposedly she's, been raped in the past by him. So that's why she wasn't on good terms with him. But yet she still had this motherfucker's number in her phone. If I had been raped by somebody so bad, and I can imagine being a woman, that you didn't give permission and you didn't do, I can see where that would, he don't deserve a right to see those kids if that's what happened, But anyway, so, she told us a little bit about that on day 5, and she's going on about, about someone else being raped or whatever. And she was just telling me all these stories, and I'm trying to be, this person that gives advice. Now, like I told my wife, you can take it or leave it. I know what's best for you before you do. I don't know where I got it. It's just something I've had. I mean, my wife I don't know what it is, but I can say something and it be about something bad that's going to happen, and it happens. Usually, I don't even put a timeline on it. I'm not saying that I'm wishing people on death and all this stuff that I know when somebody's going to die or nothing, but you know, I had just as an example that Alexa Bliss woman. I'd seen how she was on not being used on TV, so I've seen these people get fired and released. In other words, uh, from WWE, and I said, the other couple of days ago, I said simply I thought she'd be probably the next one to go because they wasn't using her on TV and all that stuff. And sure enough, she's gone. She yesterday I seen a thing where she's lost her job. So you know, so like I said, it's just a small example. But no, back to what I was saying. So by day 6, she about the only thing she would talk about was her medicines, and one of these days she's gonna fucking have the police involved in her medicine and and go through all this stuff, make a police officer come out here just based on her theories of who took her medicine. Now, is that not some kind of whacked up fucking shit? This woman don't know whether her fucking head's on or whether it's fucking been cut off. She don't know what direction she's headed. She don't know whether, and that's what I was getting, because she didn't, if her head wasn't actually attached, she wouldn't know how to be able to put it on if she had to. But luckily for her, she comes with it already attached and it's already on. So, otherwise she wouldn't be able to function. So she talks about, that, and she, like I said, Suboxone. I never heard of this shit. I mean, keep in mind, I never waver on stuff I know I'm right on. So, I was pushing her a little bit harder than because I was trying to help her. But what aggravates me is every time I tried to help her, tried to give her advice, as somebody who I know I didn't have any kids, I didn't, but I learned a lot from watching TV and learning from people's mistakes from within, I had been through a similar thing myself. Just I didn't dabble into drugs. I didn't dabble into the beer. I didn't go for the cigarettes. I was told when I was a kid that I wasn't supposed to do that. Don't wind up like me, Derek. Don't do it. It makes my head throb of how did they lay off the cigarettes and the beer and the drugs long enough to have me or Darren, That damn Brat Star. That's another story for another time. But anyway, so anyway, we coast on for and in between day 6 and 7, she's all she did. Basically, the reason I don't have much to follow up through the days is because all she did was watch fucking TV. She'd turn on movies on regular channels like TNT, TBS, or whatever it was. She'd find one of these science fiction movies. So one of these days, I took out. I don't remember which one, but I was sitting there kind of watching it, But then there was one that just didn't appeal to me. I don't remember what it was, but I sat down and I wrote a letter. Basically, and my wife did too. She wrote one. And to be honest with you, I don't know what my wife wrote. I don't remember. I don't even hardly remember what I wrote, but I remember parts of it, because I wrote it. I can actually read my writing. Some people have a hard time reading my writing. I don't write that good, but I can read my own writing. It's like anybody. They can read their own writing, but you try to have somebody else read it, and they're like, oh, I can't read it. My A's look like nines, for an example, but, I can read my own writing. But anyway, so we go into this deal where she's here and, and everything, kids are here. And I was talking about her TV. So she watched TV. I lost track where I was going. She watched TV, and to be honest with you, I've never seen anything more opposite. I didn't bring it up as a bad thing. I didn't try to beat around the bush, but I was picking up on things. This woman's not even letting me do anything. It's supposed to be Derek's Valentine's present for this year. It ain't happened but about 10 months ago. So we're still, we're almost done with this year, but this is what, and I'm not saying that just to be, it's all about me or not, but I'm saying my wife and I had this idea, at the time we didn't have the ring stuff. We didn't have all this stuff we have sitting over here now. That happened 2 months after. But I was noticing she would sit like she was being awkward, like she would sit there apart from. She would even do anything with my wife. She sat opposite of me and my wife. One day, I don't remember which day this was, but which number the day falls on. But we got our checks one particular day, so we go out and try to have a walk. She's out there speed walking. She's out there way ahead of me. I'd have had to fucking have my Ultimate Warrior boot on and fucking just to pass her ass up. And if that hadn't been for a fucking goddamn road, it'd have been somewhere I could have fucking had enough energy to do what I would have done. She probably wouldn't have known what to think. I guarantee you. But that made me feel bad because my wife and I, we walk together. We hold hands. But she's quite the opposite. She did whatever she did that day. She made the impression what she made. So anyway, I told my wife so we cashed her checks, we did our thing. I went out. We had went out of our way down there at the pig. I don't think anybody knew what to think. There wasn't too many people saying nothing, but you could just, you can kind of tell that somebody's like, oh, who's this? And, but, before we went to the pig the first time, my wife was aggravating about something. I don't remember now, and something about, being, we was wondering how we was going to explain this to if anybody brought it up. How is we going to tell them how come this, woman is in our presence now? How do we come out here and find it? So we came up with the idea if it made everybody feel better, which we didn't end up doing this, but she was going to give us a kiss or something. Make everybody jealous because we told her that there's a lot of gossip. She was coming up with this was on her own. So basically, we didn't end up doing that, and nobody actually even hardly said nothing. Nobody, knew what to think, but they just stayed quiet for the most part. So we escaped all that, and one day she went downtown And my wife had an appointment, doctor appointment down there. That old English's place. Well, my wife brought up something last night, and I do sit here sometimes in this chair, and I do roll my eyes back, and I do kind of rest my eyes. I don't mean I'm fully asleep, but I rest my eyes. Well, obviously, this woman, when she went in with Jessica, they must have either had some knowledge of her being somewhat of a bad person. I don't know this for sure. I wasn't there. I don't know what was said or what was done. And to be honest with you, I couldn't halfway remember anything but her fucking coming up here and showing out and yelling, talking about Susan. That's the only thing she did. And I told my wife last night, I said, I'd like to never got her to just calm down. I was also in fear of these kids seeing me and this fucking crack whore going back and forth, arguing. Because, and she's always say, oh, they're used to it. Yeah, because you're like Gina, you're like my mother. You like to be confrontational, obviously. So, and I was trying to say, hey, we need to drop this right now. We need, I was trying to play peacemaker. But the more she kept resisting me, the louder I got and the madder I got because she wasn't listening to me. I knew what was best. So anyway, she, I remember we went to the store, Save a Lot. I've never been in there before. And Pig's a lot better than Save a Lot, let me tell you. If you took me to this store, I would have never known. I'd never been in it before. But she went over there. She had food stamps. She got like $600, $700 in food stamps, or whatever it was. I don't remember the total exactly, but she gave half of that to her parents, or a good portion of it. She probably got like 800, I would think. I think it's like $800. So she gave about $400 of it to her parents. She buys them groceries, and that she owed them some money. They wanted to be paid back. They were 1,000 or whatever it was in the hole themselves because they always came out and they helped her. Whenever she would freaking ask, even though you could tell it was bothering them. Like, she came out one of these days. She came out and told us this whole story about how she fucking loaned her fucking car to this fucking idiot she went and had one of these kids with. Cause he needed a card, Eric. Okay. But then what are you gonna do? When she was going through this rough time, and I wasn't there, neither was my wife. But when she was going through this rough time, when she had to meet the judge, she obviously at that time had a car and something, maybe a job too. I don't know. But at one time she said, hey, I worked at the Waffle House. I can't remember. I think it's Waffle House. And she said that she couldn't get along with the management there. And some things went down. I can't remember all of it now, what she exactly told, but she's, saying she couldn't get along with the workers there. It's just, they ended up, she left that job and she never tried to get another job. Well, I ain't the one with two fucking kids. So either one or two things needed to happen. One, she needed to get on SSI. She thought she could get on SSI, but she didn't want to do that. She didn't want to go out there and get a job. I fucking wondered for the longest time how the fuck she got on food stamps. And I figured it out that she's not the one that went up there and got them. Her parents were the ones that got her those food stamps. I don't know when she got them. I don't know how long she's had them. But if she could do that, she could have called and checked on the SSI. What difference would that have made? It'd have made a lot of difference. She would have had her own place. Her and those two kids, they would have had somewhere to go play on a playground. You see what I'm saying? Simple. Most most time, people give me a hard time. My wife gives me a hard time sometimes because she's like, at times I think she just feels bad that this thing went down the drain like it did. But you know, it's not mine or her fault. At the end of the day, you know, when I was about that letter, like I said, I don't remember what day I wrote it. But I mentioned about all the things that me and my wife liked and what type of music we liked. But I also made certain to put in that, me and her likes to cuddle, and me and her likes to, you know, make out once in a while. So I said, now this is the big thing that got held up on me. She quoted to me in an angry way when she came up when we was finally through with her. She came and she was so angry and so mad. She mentioned this to my face. She said, "All you wanted was sex. If I wanted sex from you, I'd have got it the first fucking time you laid down. I was not all about sex. My wife can attest to it. I was telling her that, so if she wanted to join in, we wouldn't have had no problem with it. She was going to be with us. And I wasn't going to do it with her kids being here. But if we'd have got some adult time without the kids, not just saying for sex, but anything, just some time alone, we could have managed this. If she'd have picked her exes better, who she had her kids with, and if he did rape her, well, she obviously liked it because she went right back to the fucking idiot. If he'd have done that shit to me and I was a female, I would never let those kids around him, especially them being girls. Boys is bad enough, but girls, I have a soft spot for girls. I would not trust this idiot. She had this idiot's number in her phone and was talking to him, texting him, and wanting to go over to his house. That's when I finally lost it. I told my wife, and my wife's trying to talk me down that particular night. But I said no, or evening. I said no. He's already came up in here and tried to get the kid for the night. He only spared a few hours. Remember, my wife had her here for 3 weeks. All it was being done was, let me tickle the kids, let me play with them all the time. It was getting on my nerves, I gotta be honest with you. Because, it's just, that's the only time she's ever happy. And I just didn't understand how it could, how she could be so good to them, but she couldn't do the same for me and my wife. We was the ones that tried to fucking take her in. My wife, I didn't know anything about her. Like I said earlier, my wife basically surprised me with this. And, and I don't want to beat her up because it's not her fault. But, it goes to show if you really don't know somebody and you don't know them, you've never seen them, you don't just go and let them move in your house. We found out later, speaking of that, another thing I need to bring up, because I want to try to cover as much as I can. I didn't know that Miss Prophet wasn't going to let us. I had a feeling she probably wouldn't. But when I had, my wife had told her about Susan. Apparently, she thought she said she could stay here. Well, I called just to see, and Miss Prophet said no. So I was like, okay. So regardless, we would have to move. Well, when she found that out, she was getting on her phone, to her credit. I'll give credit where credit's due. She would get on the phone and she did call one or two places, but they never called her back. She never even tried to call them back. after some days, I was going to risk me and my wife losing this place, and it's not the nicest place in the world, but it's not worth losing. And me and my wife being out here stranded on the side of the road, you know. And I knew that's what was going to happen. I had multiple times where these kids were being loud. There'd be times, yeah, they'd be quiet, and that they would, you could kind of, play a PS3 game with them, or like the oldest one. Most times, she was always the one that was the best, most calm, and she'd play her tablet. And again, she's 8, or was time now. She'll be 9. She probably already had her birthday. But anyway, so she was trying to teach me how to play one of those games, and I never fooled with any of those things, no tablets, nothing else. But I was giving it my shot, was having a good time with her. She sat in my lap. It's the one thing between the difference between a smart kid and they know they got something they could probably do something with. She understood me. The 3-year-old just act like a jackass, sticking up for her daddy. And I said, well, Dad, give her a break. Well, I would if she wasn't talking to me like she's fucking 13, 14 years old. She don't have a fucking clue. She don't know all the things that her mama fucking knows about her daddy and about, I guess, a lot of the things. When she gets a little bit older, she'll understand that, why Derek didn't like her versus the other kid. Now, Jay Lee was the best one out of the bunch. I just didn't like that thing Zoe or whatever. And she never, I tried, the only time my wife said, well, Derek, she wanted to do this. She wanted to do that. Okay, so she want to come up in here and, one of the nights, things got so bad that, she got up, went in the bathroom and cried. My wife's sitting in there. I don't want, I was in here. I had my head turned. I didn't even want to look at her. I thought we was through. I don't remember exactly what was over. It's probably over her drug crack whore mess. I just get tired of hearing it. She kept bringing it up. It's all things she'd talk about. She wouldn't hardly talk about nothing else. I tried multiple times, and my wife tried multiple times. But she treated this like this was her house, and that she could just do what she wanted. And I was going to let her do what she wanted if she just do what she was supposed to do and fly right. And but anyway, when the first time that she had a big thing and she got upset, she actually, to her credit, she didn't actually throw a big fit, but it was enough for me to kind of start putting my alarm bells on. So I kind of said that maybe that was my first clue. And actually, my intent was to not give her a second chance. I was actually just wanting to be done with her. And so whenever she done this, she decided to go up there and do whatever it was, stay at one of them's house, Megan's or whoever's, Melanie's, whatever one she chose that night. So I didn't know anything. I didn't know she's even going to come back. My wife didn't know. Like I said, I don't remember what days these are on, but this is the story of all this. So she basically she comes back, or texts my wife and says, "Hey, I'm coming back down," or I don't know if she texts her or if she just runs back down here. I don't remember which. But anyway, she see if she's coming back down. So anyway, I've got her stuff sitting out there, and she throws the biggest fit. I thought, well, hell, I'll help her. And then my wife would just put her stuff out on the porch. Not going to go nowhere. She pitched the biggest fit. Because all I didn't couldn't read her mind and whether she's going to come back or not. I was fucking through. Well, we get past that. So she come back. She wanted to sit down. She wanted to talk to us. I was like, okay, but I really don't want to. And my wife was like, well, Derek, she said she'll be down here. She won't holler. She won't scream. You know, she wants to talk. You know, because I was a little hesitant about it. So, you know, but she come in here, and much to my surprise, she told me all the stuff, and she wanted to tell me, and we kind of made up peace right there, tried to fix it, you know, and we said whatever we said and apologized or whatever it was that day, that morning. So I thought everything was cool. But then as time went on, she just kept bringing up these things, which led to ultimately deciding not to pursue. I mean, like I said, she looked like $1,000,000, except for her teeth. But she looked like $1,000,000. You know, I thought this was something special. I thought we were supposed to, you know, my wife says, well, you did get to hug her. You did get to do, yeah, only when she wanted me to, when she was over there crying about stuff that we'd already discussed as adults. She's over here crying about things all the time, about something. The same things that I talked about her past. I had told my wife, I said, you know, had I met this person myself a couple of years ago, maybe up to 5 years ago, earlier, maybe when she didn't have this fucking Zoe hanging around her, you know, I might have been able to fucking do something. I mean, honestly, I don't know how much different, you know, Jaylee would have been, but you know, at 5, but I mean, she certainly at 8, she was already acting like she was, you know, and she had plans of you know, doing things, wanting to, you know, venture out there, maybe have her somebody to be with or whatever. She's already kind of getting into that. And me at 8 years old, I wouldn't think about shit like that, you know. But oh, Derek, you got to change with the times. Well, you know, you just put my shoes on. Understand that work was more important to me. I didn't even want friends, so you know, I told my wife, I said, yeah, within reason, I will change with the times. If it's something like a computer here, or if it's something that I actually need to use a high tech thing for, and I don't have another choice. But if I got an option of using something I know how to work versus something I don't, I always go with the one I know, not the devil I don't. The devil I know is the one I will go with every time. But no, anyway, that practically pretty much covers this. But you know, I will say that in the future, if there is to be anything come here, we're gonna check this some bitch out. I'm gonna make sure that they're on my level. As a matter of fact, my wife will know, what does Derek want? How does Derek, you know, I know what he wants. She looked at it like that kind of lifestyle. I was a little upset, a little irritated. But I got to be honest, I want somebody like my wife. I want somebody, if our unicorn bestie is going to work, They can't be plugging their friends. They can't be plugging their fucking parents and telling everybody about us. For one reason, because a lot of times when you do that, they can you might be excited. Like I said, the bestie, if it happened, they might be excited. So they go, oh, I met blah blah blah. Well, one of those days that she was sitting here talking about Susan, she mentioned about me and my wife to her fucking little girlfriend besties up there, whatever. And did they come down here? No. They didn't call, they didn't text, nothing. But they were sure to give her a place to stay when she fucked through one of her fits down here. My wife had said, Nancy Aincy Paints, as I called her, said she tried to warn her that night that she wouldn't take her up there. Obviously, somebody knew something. But I am good at one thing. And my wife, she always likes to plug me as a big teddy bear. And she always likes to lie to people, and I'm sweet, and I'm nice, and all this garbage. Yeah, I get to do that for her because she's been with me 10 fucking goddamn years. But I have an attitude about me, a voice about me, a way of looking at things people don't like. I wouldn't have to be half as loud if I wasn't trying to make a point, or if I didn't have to try to teach a 30-year-old how to be a fucking mother and how to have a mental break once in a while. She could have give herself, she needed it. I saw it from my own eyes up here. She needed to have a mental break. She was not capable of taking care of those kids. Only in certain areas was she able to be a mother. I'm not going to say she's a horrible mom in the sense that she was paying attention to her kids as she was watching TV with them one year. But like I said, she had no place for them to go. She had no place for us to go. How was we going to make this bestie thing work? And she actually didn't even know what the fuck she was doing here. I have to be honest with you. When she sat down, what alarmed me when she sat down, first thing she told my wife. She told my wife some stuff. And my wife come up to me. Like I said, I don't remember what day this was on, but I'm just covering as much as I can. So I want to get all this out here. So if my wife wants to watch it again, or if she wakes up and wants to join in on this video sometime here, because I'm already at an hour. But no, she came in and told me what she expected, what she wanted or what she expected out of this. And this is totally different from what my wife had envisioned. I mean, like I told my wife, I said, had you brought some of them people down here that you knew from some of them other states, you'd have had a female bestie with you. We could have had all kinds of fun. That Brittany Brenner, she liked her the best, and she didn't bring her down here. She says, well, my family wouldn't let me. Well, I'd say fuck them. I'd rather be up there my fucking bestie than fucking putting up this fucking shit down here. I mean, they fucking lied to my wife. Her fucking family lied to her and fucking played her like a fucking fiddle. I'm not going to sit there and, like I said, difference between most people and me is I expect that if somebody wants my time, they give my, time, or, they give me their time and they're talking to me, so I'm going to talk to them. I'm not going to change me. But as I said, though, it's a shame that we can't find somebody in our sports. One of the biggest one of the biggest problems I had was she had nothing whatsoever, hardly in common with me. And that's what made me so bored and so aggravated too. All she'd do is watch TV. She didn't talk about doing much. She talked a little bit about school and different things like that, but she never fully came out and said anything good. I mean, most of it was horror stories. Most of it was stuff that she should have kept in the back of her mind. Tried to, or at least if she brought it up, only bring it up one time and let it go. But she just didn't want to do it that way. So that's why we ended up, getting done the way we got done. So, but no, I mean, I had every intention. If my wife wanted this to be her unicorn bestie, she should have gotten to know her good first. She should have spent more time instead of talking to this damn fucking person from Alabama, this fucking Cameron. She should have talked to this woman here. She's more local. She wasn't fucking sexist. I will say that. She come in here and actually admitted she's, bi and she liked both men and women. She even told us, "Oh well, if my dad found it out or my mother, they'd probably have a kid on." I told him. I told her dad on the phone last time me and him talked. I said she's afraid to tell you that. They didn't get mad. I don't know whether they talked to her about it or not, but I told him. You know, I told him too. I said, "Well, she's stealing stuff in the store." I said, "I'm afraid one of these days you're gonna get fucking called or whatever. And if you're in the car and you're responsible for taking her around," I said, she's gonna get her ass. You and everybody in it's gonna get locked up if they think you're helping her steal. I don't know where she learned that. I don't know why she started. I don't know why anybody. Probably one of them things. Like I said, when you don't know, they try to make me out to be a bad guy. I wanted somebody, and just to be honest with you, I wanted somebody that I could put my arm around, that my wife could put her arm around, and we could do fun things with. I had envisioned of having somebody, like my wife had mentioned. She had the idea that this was just going to go the way she wanted it, and the way I obviously wanted it. She intended on that, but it's not what happened. And for that reason, you know, she just, like I said, she came up in here. She was telling us about how she bought toys and stuff and cars. Giving her car away, things like that. But she should have never given her car away to her ex. She never should have done any of this stuff. She should have bought those kids a car with that first check, and herself that car, so she could take her kids around and be able to get around. So her poor parents didn't have to fucking, had to put up with her. They were getting old. She'd even told me, I don't know what I'm going to do if I lose my parents. So I don't know what she's going to do either. Because I can't take somebody lying on me. And my wife, trying to stick up for her. I understand she wanted to kind of understand her from well, Derek, you're not in her shoes. I don't have to be. That's what I was accused of. I was accused of bossing her around. I wasn't trying to. I was trying to come out and be the person I always am, which is I try to look out for you. You wanted a good place to stay. You didn't want to end up going back to those bad days and bad memories. All you had to do was straighten up. All you had to do was fly right. Go straight. There ain't no drugs, alcohol, cigarettes around here. She had a she had everything good that could have come out of this. You know, she made me sound like the worst thing, and it made me look bad. It made my wife look bad, and that's what we get for not knowing who she really was deep down inside. You know, a lot of people, including my wife's family, including my family, they might want to lie on me and say I'm the one that's the problem when and in reality they're just that much of a problem themselves, and they changed just like this person I'm talking about. It's not about whether or not we would have had it. You know, her family supposedly holds the well, they didn't have a church wedding like we wanted. Well, because you all were pushy. Her family did the same thing as crack whore did. They pushed my buttons till I fucking had enough. I fucking snapped. I fucking told them off. I've done everything. Oh, Derek, and we'd had a little talk about her family thing too. And I told her, I said, there's no going back and trying to fix anything. They had their chance to make the best of impressions. I gave them every chance in the book to try to fix things, try to move past it. They never wanted to talk about anything. So all their chances are now gone bye bye. Now her mama, as she calls her, she's now got this dementia thing, and she's going around telling my wife the last time she was here, I reckon, outside in the truck. Oh, we wanted Derek to, yeah, y'all wanted me to do everything y'all wanted to do. You didn't want to give me a chance to show you anything. You didn't even want my opinion on nothing. I was just trying to help you. Same thing I tried to do for this dang crack whore. Yeah, she wasn't on any drugs, like I said, while she was up here. But when she's out of my hair, she's out of my wife's hair. I have nothing to say. I don't know whether she's back doing that or what. It doesn't matter. Point is, if my wife can't take. I have no problem if they want to be. This is for anybody else. If you want a shot, you want a chance, just don't make these mistakes. If you're that mentally beat up and abused mentally inside that you can't just let this stuff go after talking about it, and you can't have a civilized conversation, and you can't compromise and be 50-50, then I don't want to tell you. Because that's the only way it's going to ever work. My wife and I don't mess around and stuff. But yeah, our whole vision was to have this person be like part of our family and take her whatever she had in her circle. But and give her and I and the kids a place to stay forever, the rest of our lives. I was going to live my life with my wife and this woman here and her kids. I was going to try to fit all of them in and have something nice and have our own little family. But she let her ex and all of her other problems come between us. And so therefore, that's why we didn't get to do what we wanted to do. It sucks, but that's why we're back on the chopping block. Just back doing our usual. Sorry to make it come out here and have to make a video like this, but and it's not toward anybody that's on there watching our videos. I mean, our other stuff, our playlists, but this is important. I've always said, I wanted somebody in their 20s and 30s, somebody slim to average. Had it been somebody small, had it been somebody maybe smaller size, that wasn't so tall, wasn't so big, maybe a feller could have had a nicer time with them. It might have made all the difference in the world. I'm not saying they can't have an attitude adjustment problem either, but if they're small, they're probably like my wife. They'd like to have their head rubbed or their you know, back massaged or stuff. I mean, yeah, like I said, I got to do like one or two things very, very lightly, very rarely. She said a lot of this shit to my wife, saying oh yeah, I didn't bring this up. She was going on about, oh yeah, I'll be the surrogate mother and I'll let you do this when I'm ready to do it and blah blah blah. And I didn't believe her. I didn't believe it because she just she act like and my wife's got a point. She didn't hardly know me, so she wasn't very comfortable. I'm guessing is why she didn't want to hug or didn't want to do much. But when she was really upset, oh yeah, she wanted to hug then. Why give me that chance if you're not going to give me any other chances? Or my wife, for that matter. Either one of us. And what was strange, she'd like to say, oh yeah, Derek, my wife one time was upset, and this was back when I still had my other shoes. And I just didn't feel like walking this particular day. This is when all the shit down there at the damn doctor's office happened. And I had to hear about it all coming back home. And I tried to deal with it at first. I tried to talk about it, but she just kept bringing it up. She wouldn't let it suppress. She wouldn't just release it. She just kept it bottled up in there. She just kept bringing stuff up. But like I said, my wife was upset. She left here upset. And one of the other clues was, oh, well, let's just go have a girls' day out. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I was catching on the clues. This wasn't my Valentine present. This wasn't any gift that I would have wanted to take on if I didn't know who the fuck this was or had no knowledge. And I won't do it again. I mean, I'm going to know everything inside first. Outside can wait till the feller knows this person. My wife's going to have to know the person. We can't just, neither one of us can't just drag somebody up in here and give them a fucking place to stay because it's not going to work. That's why we're in the motions of packing up and trying to do some stuff. I now know what we have to do. We can't have this scenario repeat itself. That's why I told my wife, do not fall for anybody's tricks in any form up there in them apartments. Don't let somebody come out there and act like they want something. If they want this offer, there's goddamn videos out here that's got it all over. Yes, who don't want sex? Who doesn't want to be hugged or cuddled or felt like they belong somehow? Like I told my wife, I might have wanted my own fucking kids with that woman if she'd allowed me to have them. But she's too mentally a wreck. She wouldn't let you freely do anything, move around, and she made it feel like jail. She's made you feel like the worst piece of shit you ever laid your eyes on. This all because she made some bad choices. She took it out on me and my wife up here. And that's what I can't stand. Now, we'll not let somebody do that anymore. I want them to earn their ring. I want them to earn this stuff we have over here. And I want it to be done right. And that's the only way it's going to happen. I want my sports to be somewhat in common. I don't care if they don't watch baseball. I don't care if they like. Hell, I'll go out there. I'll do anything. I'll do dodgeball. I'll even go out there and try to play tennis. I've never played tennis. I'll do something as long as I'm physically active. I'll do anything that ain't jumping off of fucking buildings or in an airplane. I don't hunt. I don't fish. I'll make that clear. But I'll do something on the ground that I know I could do, or at least encourage myself to do it if I knew if I liked it and I wanted to try it. There ain't anything wrong with me. Like my wife wants everybody to think I just fucking made this woman's life a living hell. I didn't want to make it a living hell. My wife was coached into thinking this woman wanted something to do with us and wanted us around her for the rest of her life. She wanted to throw us out there on the side of the road after about 3 or 4 months, whenever she got one of them little checks, and basically wanted nothing to do with us. Oh yeah, you can come over and see me whenever you wanted to. We could be right next door to each other. This is if we'd have gotten somewhere with the we knew we was going to have to move. But she had no way of making it happen. And to be honest with you, if we'd have moved to Athens, she wanted to go off and hang around her fucking stuff. I mean, to be honest with you, she didn't like me. She just pure didn't like me. I wasn't her type. And I made that clear. She wasn't my type because she didn't have things that I wanted to see happen or wanted things to be in common. I wanted some things that I was into. I mean, she didn't browbeat me about my music. We turned it on, and what was on my PS3. She made the assumption. She said, "Well, I can tell you likes music." What? Duh. I've been raised around it, you idiot. I've got fucking grandparents that like country music. Papa like Patsy Cline, Tammy Wynette. Granny like Reba and Garth Brooks and Elvis came from my grandmother. He wasn't country, but Elvis came from my grandmother. She's a big Elvis fan. But anyway, so she didn't have this. Susan didn't have anything in common with me. My wife didn't even. My wife says, "Well, I didn't have time." Well, that's why it's important to make time. From now on, take advantage of texting them, calling them, trying to get to know them. Maybe give them 4 or 5 days, give them a week. Let's give them a little time. If we rush something, it's never going to turn out right. I mean, it's one thing to have somebody on fucking Twitter and you fucking texting them and maybe, talking to them that way. And then you've talked about everything on a text, or they've called you on the phone and you've actually got to hear their voice, whoever that might be. That's completely another thing, because they already know what I'm like. They already know what to expect. If they don't fucking show out, then they'll be fine. But like I said, I mean, this was I've never felt so freaking bad before in my life. I have seen a lot of things that I hope I prayed I never ever have to lay my eyes on again. I don't want to see somebody in this mental wreck of a shape. If they can't take care of themselves, they don't need to be adding me or my wife to it. And I hope to God that I never have any more kids I have to deal with. If these kids that comes along, I want to be responsible for them myself. They need to be my own and my wife's stuff. If a female bestie or something wanted some kids and they didn't have any kids, okay. But I'm not going to sit there and take care of someone else's kids I had no responsibility of giving birth to. I don't want to do that. It makes me look bad. I'm not a dad. I'm not somebody who, is important in any way, shape, or form to anybody. I'm supposed to be an uncle or something of this or whatever. There's probably, like I told my wife, there's probably over 300 people I have never met in my fucking family. Not because I didn't want to, but because they chose, just like fucking English up there, chose to do what she did to me. Like I told yesterday or one of the videos I made. Her problem was her fucking looks. She went out there and she just all about herself. I'm not saying some of that shouldn't happen, but she now wants to wait till I'm almost 40 years old. I'm 37 now. I'm almost 40 years old. She's maybe a year or two younger than me. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And she all of a sudden wants Derek. Supposedly, this is what Jessica told me. And I believe her. I mean, hell, English can't stand the fact I probably don't like her, but she treated me like shit. She's done the same thing. And everybody, I said the one thing that's going to make English not like me is because I ain't stuck up God's ass. She fucking takes that religious shit so fucking seriously, and she goes overboard. When I mean overboard, I know she goes overboard. I don't have to be around her to know that. Some people's told me some stuff, and I don't do that. I don't mind an occasional prayer. I don't mind occasionally watch something like that, or just take a peek at it. But I'm not going to bore you to death with that shit. And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not religious at all, practically. I was raised up in Baptist churches, but I wasn't baptized when I was little. Nobody thought of doing it. So that's their problem. I'm not ducking my head in this fucking tank and doing all this shit or whatever it is. They should have done it when I was younger. I wouldn't have known any difference if I'd been 2 or 3 years old. Wouldn't have known any difference. They should have done it then. That's their problem. I wouldn't care if you like to go into church. I might try to make a compromise with you if I can do it. If me and my wife had compromised somehow with that, we'd try to find a way to do it. I'd give your church at least a chance. But I'm telling you, a lot of times I don't like people like that. I don't like people who talk about politics. There's a few good things I can say about the crack horse. She wasn't all about the news, and she wasn't all about the politics and the stuff like that. The normal everyday stuff that gets everybody's panties in a wad. She didn't do it. Had she kept, like I said, the other stuff at bay and gave herself some mental break with just me and my wife and her, we could have made this work. I don't care if she didn't have a car or didn't have money. But it would have made a difference had she not had them goddamn kids up her ass. She's one that fucked these fucking men that she fucking hung out with, and so she had to pay the price. She probably thought it was the best thing she ever had in her life. Once she got those pleasures, she didn't find it so funny, obviously. So she fucking has to pay the price. And those kids make you feel old, especially Zoe will, because she was only 3 when she was here. I mean that other one's still got about 10 years. So my God, she'll be fucking 40. Yeah, 40 when the other one's 18. And I mean, she'll be in her damn fucking 50s or whatever, almost 50 or 51 by the time fucking Zoe's old enough to fucking start, getting out or close to that. you know, there's like a 5 years age difference, and she don't have any more kids. That is, Lord have mercy. I pray to God that she don't. You know, I'd hope she don't, because like I said, I, you know, I love calm kids. I love calm pets, but I am picky. My wife's right about that. I don't know how they're going to take to me before I even go up to them. You know, it's like night and day. It depends on them, and it solely depends upon you. If you want this offer, you desire to want this, and you're out here in Decatur, Tennessee, and you can beat what you've heard in this video, or if you got a Twitter, or if you got a Hangout, and my wife's got a Hangout thing that we do. I go on Google. It's through Gmail, but it's Google that allows me to do what I'm doing. I can go on Gmail and I can actually put forth, a video and talk through it, and you can see me like I am now, but I don't have the chance to go back and watch it like I do here and chat at the same time. But no, it's just that, we wanted somebody that we could spend the rest of our life with, somebody that, fit the bill of, what we were hopeful for and looking for. And I will say this: she didn't hate on us because we didn't have a job. She wasn't after our money. There was, like I said, there was a few good things about this person, but at the end of the day, and sorry, I don't have lights on or nothing right now, but actually, we had one burn out last night. But I know what I was going to say as, I don't really know what today's going to hold, what tomorrow might hold, but, the longer this takes, the lesser time we're going to have. It's just a realization. So we cannot rush. I'm not saying don't don't do it at all, or that I'm not interested, or my wife's not interested. But the one thing me and my wife's got to keep in mind is we can't just throw them in here. We've got to know them. I mean, I don't care. I don't care if they have a way of coming up here and staying for 4 or 5 hours at a time until they kind of get to know us. Maybe take a day away, kind of go do something. Because we don't have to give everything right away. We don't have to, we don't have to throw it all in one thing and then just rush it, because I know we'd like to, but it's not. It's not a good thing. Obviously, it would depend on the person, if how fast we went. But I'm not going to go slow like a turtle or a snail. But I'm saying I'm going to keep my eyes and my ears open, and my mind's going to be thinking a lot more. I'm not going to be as easy to just, I'm not going to be a snob. I'm not going to not talk to you, but I'm not going to just, I'm not going to just give you this stuff right away and assume that you're the one. If you really think that you can do it, you'd have to show us. You'd have to prove it to us in person. I'm tired of being behind a TV screen. I'm tired of being behind a telephone. I'm tired of, it'd be one thing if somebody off Twitter could do more than just fucking text all the time. My fingers get tired. And I get tired and I have my phone vibrate most of the time, because I can't stomach that thing's loud keys of, doodling and everything else, and making all this racket. But anyway, this was kind of, me trying to get everything out. I've been out here an hour and a half, I don't know if she wants to talk or not, but I just want to kind of get everything out here. Let me see, because I gotta go to the bathroom. Let me hang on. Baby, did you want to say something on the radio? No, she wants to sleep. Sweetie. Oh, yeah, she's sleeping. She's sleeping. My wife's out like a light bulb. But I'll let her watch this. This will give her something to do. And hopefully it'll answer her questions, and hopefully she'll understand, what I was hopeful for, and what I was hopeful for all of us, not just me, but, us as a whole. But anyway, I'm going to try to get off here, and I'll see y'all later. But hope everybody likes her stuff, though, on here. Just watch it. But yeah, this wasn't for anybody on here. I just want to make that clear. This was somebody that we dealt with. But if anybody's interested in our offer, please, leave a comment. Our numbers are out there. We've got Twitter. It's under my wife's name. My wife's name is under the Hangout. So if you got a Google Hangout, type in Tigger 10423 at gmail.com and type in Jessica Lehman. And it'll pull right up. But me and her will get to you as fast as we can. But anyway, we'll see you later. Bye.